everybody. I'm Sophia Parola with the Garden State Film Festival, and here with me are Brian and Gavin, the people behind the making of the short documentary Wood Vibrations. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Thanks for
Doing
having us.
good. No, thank you guys for taking some time out to talk to us. I love this short documentary. I love that it's at the festival this year. It's one of those that are like different than the lineup, but just it's so beautiful. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about it.
Thank you.
Yes. Before we do, can you both introduce yourselves? Yes.
I'm Gavin. I'm the director behind this little documentary, and I'm also a nature and wildlife photographer.
Thank you, Gavin.
And I'm Brian Synkiewicz. I'm the Driftwood Buddha in the documentary and a Driftwood artist.
And a Driftwood Buddha. Love it. Love that. So I would love for one of you, whoever feels the most obligated, to give a little synopsis about what this short documentary is about.
Well, Brian, you can jump in here because it's your story, it's your life. But it's about rewilding your soul a bit and kind of through the connections, how you get there through the connection to nature.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start there, I guess.
I love that.
Yeah, and it was pretty wild the way it all came together. In December of 2020, I was out on Sandy Hook hunting for driftwood, and I met Gavin while he was photographing the seals that migrate down from Canada. They were propped up on a jetty, and he was photographing them. And so we started talking. I gave him one of my driftwood pieces before I left, a nice inspirational one. And a few weeks later, he reached out to me and asked if he could use me as his guinea pig to create his first documentary having to do with a person connecting back to nature. And I had told him about what I do with the driftwood, so he thought, okay, yeah, let's try this out. He had looked at my Instagram page, which is pretty animated. I'm a bit of a character, and I think Gavin, I think you were like, all right, if I'm going to try it with this guy. He's got some character to him. And so I said, sure, why not? And over the course of about 3.5 months, Gavin and I would meet once a week, and he would come out and film me while I collected driftwood, while I worked on it. And then he would pull out of me just, I guess, where I was in life and where I'd come from in life, why I got into working with driftwood. And it really turned out to be a beautiful documentary, his first film ever, and it's in the Garden State Film Festival, so it's pretty wild. Great job, Gavin.
Very wild, very on point.
Yeah,
Gavin, congratulations.
Thank you.
Beautiful first documentary.
Thank you. I had been practicing before, just put out there. I didn't just wasn't the first time I picked up a camera. But that piece that Brian gave me, what it said on it, and it's like one of his best sellers. It just says "fuck it," and I don't know if we're allowed to say that on this, but
we did it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I Brian, thank you for sharing that. You just answered my first question, which was how you guys met. Did not know it was so just universal a lot. It just seems like it's meant to be this wonderful meeting, and out of it came a beautiful project, and I'm sure a beautiful friendship and partnership. So you said that you were filming once a week for the course of 3.5 months?
I guess so. Would you say that's
Something
about
like that? Yeah, it's 40-minute drive to get up there, and a lot of it, I would go hang out with, I did an interview, and then I threw that whole interview out. And then
I don't interview too well, and I kind of go off in a lot of different directions. So
naturally,
it's not reeling them in. But so I really how I found the story in the film was going out with him and just going out and finding driftwood, and then I would just shoot and document that, and sometimes it'd be oh, Brian, do this, and I would think of a cool thing, and then through the course of that I came up with scenes to do, and then we would go back out and shoot those scenes to plug in later.
Wow.
And that's kind of my approach to documentaries, is kind of half documentary, half narrative film, because I really like got into filmmaking to make narrative films, but the whole process of that takes so long, and I don't necessarily have the patience, and I wanted to be creating. So like I found Brian's story, and I was like, well, I can make this kind of in a way that's close to like a narrative film I saw. And so then that's what came out.
It really is close to a narrative film, and so much of these moments, and I know specific scenes, like there's a scene with the door and this beautiful edit with the jump cuts. It really is gorgeous, and I love hearing how that was kind of off the cuff, if that's the right phrase, or you're just kind of going with the flow and let the creativity find you rather than sit down before, plan that, and that is very, very cool. So speaking of Brian's story, which is beautiful, the voiceover that we have over this whole documentary short is very vulnerable, real, and honest. So how did you guys get that? Did we have a script and then you recorded it? Like, how did we get this voiceover?
This is fun. So at first, I didn't know, like I told you, I scrapped the interview, which like in a normal documentary, that's what you would have used. And so Brian and I shot the thing first, got all our visuals. Then we sat down and I said, all right, what do you want to say in this scene? What are you thinking? And he would tell me, and then I would condense that into kind of a script. And then I had him record it.
Brian, please. Yeah.
No, and that seemed to work out really well, because I have a hard time kind of collecting my thoughts and getting them out in just a nice linear pattern, I guess. I kind of bounce all over the place, maybe a little bit of ADHD and nervousness when being interviewed. And so Gavin, he had just listened to it, and everything that I had said, and then we would just talk and just kind of chit-chatting, and I didn't even know that this was going to be in the documentary, and just chatting about myself and a little bit of my background. And then when we would watch the scenes after we had filmed them, and then pull from pieces of what he got from me during that interview, and then what we had just talked about, where I didn't know that what we were talking about was going to be part of the film. It was just me just telling about myself. And I really enjoyed that process. It was a lot of fun, and it was really beautiful the way he put that all together. I was just blown away, and definitely vulnerable, but that's okay. And I hope it's whatever someone gets from it, that it helps them out, whether it's someone that suffered from alcoholism, mental health within themselves or their family members, growing up with things like that, and just something that for something that somebody could relate to.
Absolutely.
That I just want to add that, like, I think that's probably why we made the film, beyond our selfish reasons, is to bestow upon the world a little driftwood enlightenment, as I like to call it. And I agree with Brian. Like, I hope people can kind of, it inspires them to kind of look at their own lives and say, hey, I can say fuck it to things and let go. And like you said before, Sophia, like, get on that flow.
I love that. It is, the documentary itself is very grounding, and what you talk about, Brian and Gavin, what you've really communicated through your visuals is, I think it's very relatable, and it's a type of like therapy, which I'm assuming, Brian, is like your Driftwood company. I want to ask you, I mean, we'll wrap it up in the interview, probably the last like 3 minutes, but I do want to get from you, what does Driftwood mean to you? And seeing this documentary, hearing your own story, what is that like for you? Is it cathartic? Is it therapeutic? Is it uncomfortable? Like, I'd love to pick your brain about that.
So for the first question, for Driftwood, it's creativity. It's an outlet. It's not something that it just kind of happened. Sorry, there's a train going by. I don't know if it's louder for you guys. Yeah, it's creativity, it's expression. It's very simplistic. When I find Driftwood, all I do is clean it up and then I add little touches to it. I love that it's nature's art, so I try not to mess with it too much. I think simplicity is a really beautiful thing, and not just with Driftwood, but with anything in life. Keep things simple. We talk about that in the documentary, and if we can just keep things simple, life can be a lot easier for ourselves. When I see the documentary, oh man, I have a different reaction every time I see it. Sometimes I get all embarrassed, just seeing myself on camera and hearing my voice. Other times, it feels powerful, and that an accomplishment, like I was able to do this, step up to the call and put myself out there for others to judge it for themselves, see what they think, and hopefully inspire some other folks.
I watched it this morning and I almost cried.
I love
good
that.
tears, I hope.
Good tears. I was like.
And I like that you say, Brian, every time you look at it, different emotions arise. And Gavin, I mean, you watched it this morning and cried, and I don't know if you did each time. So it's nice that you guys can look back at this and new emotions come up each time. I think that's a sign of a wonderful, wonderful film. I would love to ask you guys before we wrap up why you decided to submit to the Garden State Film Festival, and how do you know us?
I think I just saw it on Film Freeway, or maybe Brian, maybe you told me to do it. But it was like we applied the fuck it logic to it. We were like, fuck it, let's send it out.
So you guys didn't know you were going to submit to festivals making this, right?
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah, this has gotten a little bit bigger than we ever intended, but we're all for it.
And I know you guys filmed in Jersey. I mean, Brian, how does it feel having Wood Vibrations? What?
Frozen on my end.
Do you hear me? Do you guys both hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I think Brian froze. Well, Gavin, I'll ask you first.
I got you.
Okay, whoever wants to answer, great. Okay, you guys filmed this in Jersey, Sandy Hook Beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how does it feel having this screen in Asbury Park in Jersey at the Garden State Film Festival? I mean,
home field.
What's going on?
Yeah.
How do we feel?
It's I spent a lot of time trying to get out of Jersey, I won't lie, and to now be back and kind of making a small positive mark, I feel like, on it, and getting to share it right here at home. That's just like it brings my own story kind of full circle a little bit. So I'm very excited. I don't think that there's a better place to show it, to be honest.
I agree. Brian? How do you feel?
There's something going on in the universe for why Gavin and I met each other. Not just for Gavin to make this beautiful documentary about me and my Driftwood thing, and there's something more that's going to happen with it, and I hope it creates a big impact in a positive way. For at least one person out there.
I'm sure many more than one person will feel this story, will get something out of it, and I am so happy that I not only know you guys, and I got to see this before we even premiered, before we're even having this screen, but that this is at the festival and other people get to enjoy it, especially at Asbury Park, which I'm sure a lot of people know you both.
It's pretty cool.
It is amazing. I'm really, really proud of you guys. You should be proud of yourselves and proud of Wood Vibrations. It is a beautiful, beautiful short documentary. Gavin, please continue to make these wonderful films. And Brian, continue just to be Brian, because you're great.
Thank you, Sophia. We're not
thank you so much.
anytime soon. We're just getting started.
Yeah.
Let me tell everybody watching how they can watch Wood Vibrations in person. It will be screening virtually at the festival, but it'll also be playing at the Jersey Shore Art Center Saturday, March 26th in the Palia Theater, 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. So join the screening, and it'll be amazing. It'll be great.
It's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be wild. That's the word. That's what we should call this. Just wild.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you guys again for taking some time out to talk to us about the film, and congratulations.
Thank you, Sylvia.